Engineers Without Borders is a national organization with chapters all over the country. Our mission is simple yet quite unique. We have 3 goals. The first goal is to help poor communities around the world with their engineering needs. Next, we want to involve and train a new kind of internationally responsible student. The third goal is to find sustainable solutions which use appropriate technologies that minimize environmental impact. This is a powerful model that can both provide immediate assistance to the needy and build for the future by developing students to their fullest potential.
We work with communities to identify and develop projects. We never go into a community, tell them they have a problem and that we're here to fix it. One way or another, needy communities hear about us. We make contact and then we have a discussion about their needs. They prioritize and suggest solutions. We then help them identify and choose the most appropriate and sustainable solution. Then we assist in the design and the construction. It's really their project, not ours. We're working on projects in villages in northern Thailand and Ecuador. In both countries, the villagers are subsistence farmers. They're very poor with annual incomes in the range of $500 to $1,500 per family. Only about half have electricity and none have running water or toilets in their home. These people are industrious, hardworking, and they're trying to improve the quality of life for their families. They just need a little help.
Our projects involve the design and construction of water, sanitation, energy, and other engineered systems. We are committed to finding sustainable solutions which use appropriate technology. I was lucky enough to be part of the first EWB group at Fort Lewis College. During that first year, we designed and constructed a water supply line. The following year, I was the student team leader for a similar system for the village of Mayonne. I was given the responsibility of overseeing a group of students who designed and constructed a 6,000-meter water line. This was an incredible experience. The villagers were rationing water on a daily basis, and frequently they had no water, which meant they had to carry it from hand-dug wells down near the river. It was a bad situation. Now they have all the water they need. It really makes their lives better. Now that I have graduated and I'm a working engineer, I continue to volunteer with EWB as a professional partner. These experiences have meant a lot to me, and I hope to be able to use my engineering education to continue to work with EWB and help out where I can.
Originally, our plans were only to construct the water line. Then the village leaders came to us and asked if there was any way we could help them expand their school. Kids were being turned away because of the lack of space. So what could we say but yes? We had 11 days to complete the school. At times, we had more than 30 people working on the construction site. Villagers, students, and Thai workers all pitched in to make it a huge success. We were 90% complete after our 11-day construction period. Johnny Morris, our NGO partner in Thailand, and his crew then completed the finished work after we left. We think it's beautiful. Johnny since told us that it's one of the best school facilities in northern Thailand and that educators and government officials come from all over to visit the school. But most important of all is that there's now room for every child.
The primary motivation behind Engineers Without Borders movement is really one of justice. According to the World Bank, nearly 3 billion people live on less than $2 a day. Poverty pervades every aspect of life, from health and happiness to economics and human development. Over 1 billion people live without access to clean water, and 2.6 billion lack adequate sanitation. These eye-catching statistics capture only one dimension of the problem. Every year, 1.8 million children die as a result of diarrhea or other diseases caused by unclean water and poor sanitation. In Peru, a child is 60% more likely to reach their first birthday if they live in a house with a flush toilet. I believe that this is something we can fix. It doesn't take rocket science, just a willingness to pitch in and help.
When I went to the first Engineers Without Borders meeting, I wasn't sure I belonged with a group of engineers. I quickly learned that one of the great things about this group is that at Fort Lewis College it is open to all students. Of the 17 kids who traveled on the construction trip last year, over half were non-engineering students. My job was to conduct the community health assessment. This entailed interviewing villagers to learn about the social perceptions of health and the factors that affect health of the community. By far the most important finding was the shocking realization that nearly all of the families were using old kerosene and pesticide jugs to store their drinking water. This blew me away. I couldn't believe it. So I went to Dr. May, and we quickly developed a trade-in plan to distribute new replacement containers to all of the families. We also held community meetings to explain the extreme dangers associated with drinking from these contaminated containers. This all happened in our last 4 days in the village. This is one of our highest priorities for this year's project. We will be implementing a trade-in and education program for the entire May-Yemen Valley. This will entail several thousand containers at a considerable expense, but we feel it's something that we cannot ignore.
This year we've committed to projects in Thailand and Ecuador. In Thailand we'll be completing the water systems in the villages where we've been working for the past 2 years. This will include constructing storage tanks, distribution lines, and adding water treatment. We'll also be collecting data and exploring how we can improve the sanitation systems in these villages. In Ecuador, we'll be constructing a water system for the community of Chimborazo. These indigenous people live high in the Andes, but share many of the same problems associated with poverty that the hill tribe people of Thailand face.
Everyone that works with Engineers Without Borders does it as a volunteer. Last year we spent nearly 5,000 hours of volunteer time working on these projects. This year it will be even more. We pay no salaries, nor do we pay any overhead, and 95% of every dollar goes towards direct project costs. I think that's pretty good. The students and I must raise all the money for these projects. The budget for this year is just over $50,000. This will pay for all the materials and associated construction costs for the 3 water systems. It will also cover about half the travel costs. Each student will pay the other half out of their own pocket. Please consider becoming a sponsor. Your donations are tax deductible through the 501c3 status of the Fort Lewis College Foundation. My students and I do this work as volunteers because we think it's important. We have the ability to make a real difference in the lives of these people, and we feel that we have a social responsibility to try and do so. You can be a part of this effort and help us build a better world, one community at a time.